after another statement has come out, this time from the working groups involved in LLF. Does this whole process have any integrity anymore? Hi, welcome to the channel. My name is Rev Dan. I'm a vicar in the Church of England. On this channel you get all my views as a parish priest on all the Christian news happening in the world today. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment, share, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. So following on from the statement by the 11 bishops, the statement by the Alliance, the statement by the Society and Forward in Faith as well, we now have another statement, this time from 11 people who were working on the working groups for LLF, who were invited by the Bishop of Leicester, Martin Snow, to go there to Leicester for a weekend with all the other people from the working groups to try and find a way forward. And this statement, like the one from the Alliance, is absolutely huge. By the way, if you want to watch the video about the statements from the bishops and the Alliance and Forward in Faith and the Society, you can watch that here. So this statement is huge, really, because what they're saying in it doesn't add up to what is being said in the General Synod papers, and I'll go through this and you can see this and ask the questions for yourself. But these 11 members who are conservative have put this statement out with this headline: LLF from Leicester to York, a statement from the 11 members of the LLF working groups. And they say, in anticipation of the General Synod meeting in York and following the publication of General Synod paper GS 2358, we wish to comment publicly on the journey LLF has taken from the Leicester conversations to the publication of GS 2358. As Conservative members of the LLF working groups, we sought to participate fully in the Leicester conversations with good faith. It was a privilege to be part of the weekend in Leicester, where our work involved honest sharing and deep listening, all of which was held within a context of prayer and of mutual respect for one another's sincerely held perspectives. Moreover, we were generally moved by both what we heard from others and the way in which our perspectives were listened to and valued. We remain grateful to all those who participated in the Leicester conversations and to the staff who graciously facilitated the process. And that sounds good. It sounds like the Leicester conversations were good. You know, we've been so divided over this now for quite a long time, even before the vote last February. And you could say people have become entrenched in both of their different theologies. But these Leicester conversations seem good, where people can come together, honestly share their views and come to listen and to be listened. That sounds like a good process, holding on to your theological convictions, but able to engage with others. That sounds good, doesn't it? But the next word always tells us there's something's going on. Unfortunately, they say, unfortunately, alarm bells ring. I'm interested. What's it say? Unfortunately, and for reasons beyond our control, we feel that what is now before General Synod in GS 2358 does not represent the collaborative work undertaken across the spectrum of our theological corrections by the working groups during the Leicester conversations. While we acknowledge that the fruit of our labours were always subject to further consideration by other key stakeholders, we are saddened that our collective work, recognising and respecting the depth of feelings heard, has undergone such significant revision that what is presented in GS 2358 is no longer recognisable as to what was agreed in Leicester. It is with deep regret that, as things currently stand, we feel unable to support the motion to be debated in General Synod in York. So this part of the statement is absolutely amazing, isn't it? Working groups from across theological convictions have come to Leicester. They've had good conversations. They believe what was going to be taken forward is now not even resembling anything of the work that they worked on, and they say for reasons beyond their control, and they understand that other stakeholders will put something in, so it's not fully going to be as what they wanted out of their conversations. But they are saying we are saddened that our collective work, so this is not just the Conservatives but the revisionists as well, our collective work, recognising and respecting the depths of feelings heard has undergone such significant revision that what has been presented at General Synod and in the paper is no longer recognisable as what was agreed in Leicester. So what was agreed is not even recognisable now. What's been presented is completely different. And what's happened between, as they say, between Leicester and York, what has happened? It'd be interesting, and again, for General Synod to ask, we want to see what was coming out of Leicester. We want to understand what they had agreed and the difference to what is now at General Synod. I think that's important, especially as well when money is being spent for all these people to go to Leicester, to stay for the weekend, or the food or the accommodation. It's Church of England money being spent. And so even from that point, it seems that money will be in one way wasted, because what they have presented is no longer in the General Synod papers. And in the General Synod papers, Bishop Martin Snow wrote in his opening statement, "As lead bishop for the Living and Love and Faith process, I recently invited members of the 3 LLF working groups to gather in Leicester for a weekend. This was a remarkable coming together of people who hold very different views on relationships, human sexuality and marriage, including many members who also sit on General Synod. In the early summer warmth on the weekend of Eurovision, watched by some whilst studiously avoided by others, we went deeper in our differences about doctrine and ethics, and then found ourselves uniting in a shared commitment to finding a way for as many people to remain part of the Church of England. The significance of this articulation of a desire for unity should not be underestimated. It has allowed for a new spirit of generosity and pragmatism." So that's what the bishop has said in his open introduction for the General Synod paper that we've just heard, GS 2358. But is this actually true? Is this what they wanted? Is this what they were presenting? Because what the members of the Conservative branch that had written their response are saying, no, what we have said is completely different to what is now being presented in the General Synod papers. And I think, again, as I said, General Synod should be asking to see what was presented. But I'm sure during the debate, someone will get up and perhaps share, and I hope they do, because it is of interest for the General Synod to hear this, exactly what, remember, collectively, so that's Conservatives and Revisionists coming together to say this is a way that we perhaps could move forward, that we should take to General Synod. And now it seems that this collective agreement between Leicester and York has completely gone. Our experience from the Leicester conversation demonstrates the need to take time to work together in honest discussion to form a deeper understanding of and respect for one another's authentically held positions and hold one another in prayer. We wonder whether other key stakeholders have had the opportunity to consider all the Leicester's proposals and in a similar environment to that in which they were forged? ? And that's also interesting. They're saying, well, I thought a weekend was quite short in myself anyway, but they've obviously found over that 3 days, I think it was, assuming it was Friday to Sunday, I think it was, that they could have those times speaking to each other. But remember, also meal times are very important to forge fellowship as well, and trust in those meal times, getting to know other people. So this question that they're asking, we wonder whether other key stakeholders have had the opportunity to consider the Leicester proposals and in a similar environment to that in which they were forged. That is a question, and it should actually come with an answer. We are deeply disappointed at the journey LLF has taken from Leicester to York. Depending upon the outcome at York, if this can be redeemed, we remain willing to work with the Bishop of Leicester, his team and our colleagues to seek an honest, even-handed compromise to discerning the art of the possible, which genuinely looks to find a way forward for all of us to stay together as one church with as much unity as possible. So whatever happened between Leicester and York, they're saying, we're willing to remain working with the Bishop of Leicester, his team and colleagues, to seek an honest and even-handed compromise to discern in the art of the possible, to stay together as one church. So there is that desire across those working groups coming out of that weekend in LLF to stay together as one church, which was referenced by the bishop. So maybe that is the truth coming out. There's a unity, a desire to be unified as one church, even though we have our theological differences and how that works out. But then that's a headline, isn't it? That's a headline. What's the detail? What is the detail that was lost between Leicester and York? And again, it brings up many questions, and in this process, which has come across as not being fully open and honest. And remember going through last year's General Synods when they were asking for the legal advice and it wasn't being produced, but just saying it's all in the paperwork that they were presented with, but they still kept asking from the floor. We want to see the legal advice. The House of Bishops and the College of Bishops having their meetings and minutes not published. The level of trust at the moment, and I said this before, and many people have said this, with the church and with the House of Bishops is at an all-time low, I believe. It really is, and there's a lot of repair that has to go forward, and I acknowledge that they are doing that now, and they are publishing what's going on in the College of Bishops and the House of Bishops. But again, if 11 people on the working groups have written this statement to say they're utterly disappointed about what was spoke about that weekend has not come out in the papers that has been presented to General Synod, what was the point of it and what has happened in between? And there are these people here who have spent their time, who have gone off to this weekend to contribute positively and challengingly, but with a heart, it sounds, of finding reconciliation as much as you can in the situation. It must be so disappointing for them, and please pray for them. Here's the names below of the people who were on that weekend and signed this letter. We are in the week just preceding the General Synod. The vote will happen next Monday, and we will see what comes up. What is said is many, many, many more questions to be answered at General Synod before we even get to the final vote.